Hello, everyone. Welcome to Thursday's lesson, which brings us to the mountaintop, the final victory over death. In 1 Corinthians chapter 15, verses 50 to 57, Paul opens this closing section with an intriguing statement. Flesh and blood cannot inherit the kingdom of God. Many have misread this to mean we'll float through heaven as immaterial spirits, but the context points elsewhere. Paul places flesh and blood in parallel with corruption and the kingdom of God in parallel with incorruption. He's not denying a real body. He's saying our present perishable mortal body must be radically transformed before it can inherit eternity. In Jewish thought, flesh and blood simply described fallen, mortal humanity. That's why our bodies must be transformed and purged of all imperfection at Christ's return. The buried body is marked by corruption and mortality, the resurrected body by incorruption and immortality. And then comes one of the most thrilling moments in all of Paul's writings. Only when our sinful nature is removed, only when we pass through that glorious transformation, will the ancient promise finally be fulfilled. Death is swallowed up in victory. Then the church will sing that bold, defiant hymn of triumph. O death, where is your sting? O Hades, where is your victory? And all of this happens at the second coming of Christ. Here, Paul shares a precious truth about death itself. For the believer, death is like closing your eyes. And the very next thing you experience is the second coming of Jesus when he raises you from the dead. No matter when a believer died, whether yesterday or thousands of years ago, in a moment, in a twinkling of an eye, at the last trumpet, the dead will be raised incorruptible, and we shall be changed. Isn't that a comforting thought? For the one who sleeps in Jesus, there is no long consciousness wait. The moment of death and the moment of resurrection seem to touch, and this brings Paul and us to a tender reflection on what some call the delay. Who hasn't marveled at how quickly life passes? That, Paul hints, is exactly how the second coming will feel. Perhaps our very first thought at his return will be, wow, Lord, your coming was really soon. When we close our eyes in death and open them at the resurrection, the centuries in between will vanish like a single night's sleep. So, friends, do not fear death, and do not grow weary in the waiting. The victory is already secured in the risen Christ. Death has lost its sting. The grave has lost its triumph. And on that glorious morning, the trumpet will sound, the dead will rise, and we will be changed forever. I hope today's lesson gives you peace. Join me again tomorrow. God bless you.